Welcome everybody to another CodeZing.org Python programming project. This is a level 1 project called Double It. To get the code for the project, you can go to codezing.org/double. You just head over to the website, the level 1 code, and the project is Double It. So let's see what this one does. It says input a number and you get double. So let's input a number, which are 50. Submit that. Sure enough, get 100. You can double it again and again. Alright, cool. So let's see how we do that. If you scroll down to the bottom, click on Show Code. A little pop-up will give you the code. Just copy. And then open up your Spyder IDE. If you don't have Spyder, if you don't have Python installed yet, head back to the website and follow the links to get Python installed. Paste this in. And there's our code. Let's give it a run and see what happens. There we go. Enter a number to double. So we'll put in 100 and we get double that number is 200. Alright, cool. So it worked. Let's see how this functions. Take it apart a little bit. So we got just 3 lines of code to make that happen. The first one is getting the input from the user. So we use this input function here. You can see it a little bit if I expand this out. Input, and the text that it's going to put to the screen is enter number to double. You got to put that between quotes because it's a string, just a text string. And then we've got that surrounded by this int with brackets, and the int with brackets just converts the input back into a number, an integer. So an integer is a positive or negative whole number, so no decimals. And then it assigns that to the variable number. So the variable number will equal the integer of our input, enter number to double. So that's when you run it, that's what pops up on the screen, enter number to double, and then when you put that in, 100, converts it to an integer and stores it as the variable number. The next step is it takes the variable number and sets it to number times 2. So number times 2 will now equal number. If we do print number, say this is the number before, and this is the number after. So this will give us a little more insight into what's happening with our variable number. The print statement just throws it out here to the screen so we can see what's happening. So we'll enter number to double, 100, and we can see 100, this is the number before, 200, this is the number after, and then it prints this double that number is at the bottom, which was the statement we wanted to return. So we can see that's what's happening with number. And so what can we do to make this a little different, to play around with it a little? This asterisk is actually the multiplication sign in Python. Might seem a little strange. Usually I think of X or a dot, but in Python it's the asterisk is times, and then 2 asterisks is to the power of an exponent. So if we do this will actually create an exponent instead of a double. So if we put in 100, we're going to get 10,000 back, which is 100 times 100. So that's squared, 100 squared. You can also do divided, divided by, which is the backslash there, /, backslash, slash. So run that number to double, put in 100, we should get 50, and we do. You can also see that it decided to add a decimal point to the number. So what it's actually doing is when you divide, it's so often the case that you end up with a fraction, with a decimal, that it automatically converts it to a floating point number. So a floating point number is just that. It has decimals instead of an integer, which is just a whole number. So how can I show that to you? You can actually print out the type of the variable before, and then let's print it out after, and we'll watch it change. We do 100 again. We see that it was an integer, and then it changes it automatically to a float. So you don't have to tell the computer to do that. You don't have to tell Python to change it to a float. It just automatically does it. So a lot of times, right, if you divide by 3, we're going to see that we need that floating point number to be able to give you an accurate answer. So when you divide, it automatically does it. If you do multiplication, and if you multiply an integer times any integer, you're going to get an integer back. So let's see, if we do 100, you can see it keeps it an integer. If I multiply times a float, it'll automatically convert the answer to a float. So it starts as an int, converts it to a float because it realizes you're multiplying times a float, so it gives you back a float. So kind of cool. Python's unique in that it automatically tries to figure a lot of that stuff out for you. The input function automatically gives back a string, so that's the one case where you have to tell it, I know it's a string, but I want an integer. So let's explore what happens if we don't put that int in there, because something will definitely happen. Let's check it out and see what it is. Let's change this back to 10. This is kind of cool. I've always loved this about Python. All right, so let's say my number is 10, and I do it. The number is 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. So 10 tens is what it gives you back. And you can see that it received the number as a string instead of as a number. And so when you multiply a string times 10, it's going to give you 10 copies of that string over and over. It's kind of cool. I like that. Let's see if we divide. I think any other function, divide, add, subtract with the string is not going to work for us. But multiplication does. It gives you copies of the strings. Let's see, 50. And it does say that that's an unsupported operand type for divide is string and int. You can't divide a string by an int. Python's always very good at giving you descriptive errors that help you figure out what went wrong. So let's put back our int around our string. Just run it one more time for fun. We can see that it gave us 10. 100 divided by 10 is 10. Makes sense. Alright, so kind of cool. What else can we change? Let's get rid of these print statements and simplify it back. You can always change this text to make it more meaningful. Let's say that we are going to divide by 10. You can just say enter number. You can say enter number if you want. It doesn't tell the person exactly what it's going to do. And then in the output we can change it to 1/10 of that number is. Let's see, 100 divided by 10 is 10. Cool, it's doing the math right. This will print out whatever we put in here. You want to put in something obviously that the user is going to understand, because when they run the code, they're just going to see this piece, right? If they don't know Python, they don't know what the code's doing, they're only going to see this part, and if it's not descriptive, then it's not going to work well. So let's say I said enter your name. And we get rid of the int, and we multiply just for fun. And we say your name is, that's wrong. Let's see what happens. All right, Bob. Your name is Bob, 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 Bob. Okay, cool. That's kind of fun. I like that. So play around with it. Have fun. Change things. See what you can make happen. If you make something cool and you want to show it off, You can always email it to me, follow the links on the website, and I'll post your code if it's cool. Make up something new, something interesting, give you full credit, and we can put it live on the site so people can learn from what you've learned. If you run into major trouble, you can always, if you totally demolish your code and you try to run it and it's just giving you errors and you don't know what they mean, you can always go back, get the code again, and just start over. But feel free to play around, see what happens when you change things, see what happens when you do different math or you enter letters instead of numbers. Just give it a try, see what happens. That's how you learn. Alright, I hope you had fun, and we'll see you next time.